Senator Beck.
Thank you very much, Chair. And I just wanted to say that the comments I get from constituents all the time is that we all have to stop being offended, stop being thin-skinned, and work together. They're tired of hearing excuses. If 21 Christians were beheaded by Jews, they'd be called radical extremist Jews. And if pilots were burned in cages by a Christian, they'd be called radical violent Christians. We have to work together, stop being so thin-skinned, and find a solution to a worldwide problem. They declare themselves the Islamic State of Iraq and Syria and the Muslim Brotherhood. And as Senator Lang pointed out, their plans are very clear. So what would you answer to people who are legitimately concerned not about you or me or Jews or Christians, but about Canadians in general who are sick of the fighting and want some action?
Which fighting? In ISIS and Iraq?
Between ourselves, between everybody being offended because somebody says something they perceive as nasty or untrue, even though it's documented and clear for people to read. Canadians don't want to hear all that. They're tired of us being offended and thin-skinned, and they want us to do something about people who are threatening to blow up malls and who are burning pilots in cages and who are beheading Christians.
Right. I would say to that, on average in a week, I speak to 3 groups of Canadians, and I speak all across Canada and North America, and I get emails from everywhere. Canadians are as concerned about the loss of innocent life, whether it is done by ISIL, whether it is done by Al-Qaeda, or whether it is done by all other terrorist groups. Okay, the number one targets of these groups are Muslims. 70,000 Pakistanis have been killed by terrorist attacks. Right? The same numbers goes across board. So it is not about Muslim versus Canadians or Canadian Muslim versus Muslims. It is humanity versus terrorism. When you talk about offense is a very mild word to use. What we are dealing with is slander. We are dealing with defamation. We are dealing with accusations made without a person's reputation is all one has. So when I am called a terrorist supporter or somebody who caters to that, you are attacking me at a very fundamental level. My employment. I have 2 Canadian grandkids. How do I tell them that your own country, your own people, are turning on you? I don't have the heart to tell them that the Canada I chose to be my home and I will defend to my last breath is attacking my faith because of my community in general, because of the act of we don't do that to any other community. 3 Muslim youths were killed by a self-proclaimed atheist, and if you go on his Facebook, you will see his anti-religious rant. Nobody called it terrorism. Individual belonging to a fundamental Christian group who killed 4 of our Mounties, nobody called it a Christian terrorist. This is what we are facing. We are not saying don't call an ace, but what we are saying is, at least before you say that, get your facts straight, right? Get the information, because otherwise we will tear each other apart, as you were saying. We have to have the trust in our democratic values that we can overcome this evil with those values, not by ignoring those values. That's my submission to all of you, is don't give in to the fear, don't give in to the propaganda, just as I tell my youth, don't give it to the fear and the propaganda of these. They are someone who hates humanity. And all of us are human beings. But if I am made to feel as a Canadian Muslim, a second-class citizen, I will speak up. Because if I don't, I would be doing a disservice to the democratic values that I chose to be my home, right? The country to be my home.
Supplemental, Chair, it's important. Christians and Jews have been offended and slandered for millennia. It's got nothing to do with that. As our witness told us last week, being offended is no excuse to kill. Pure and simple.
Do you think they are killing because they are offended? No, they are killing because they want the land, they want the money, they want to control and to govern. They want to implement their hate ideology. They're not doing it because they're offended.
Journalists were killed in France because they were offended.
Who said that?
Journalists.
Senator
Thank you.
Senator Dejanay.